then you got DeRozan coming off the bench for some scoring, Jaylen Brown coming off the bench for some scoring, and Siakam coming off the bench for some spicy penis.
Nice.
What? Spicy,
I don't know.
spicy penis. Yeah.
All right. Welcome on back into another episode of Lads Talking Footy. As always, it's myself, Sam, joined with Simon
What
and
up?
Jordan. How are we, lads?
Howdy,
What's
howdy.
cooking?
Good, bro.
Doing too well, thank you. Just
So we've... oh, sorry to cut you off there a little bit short.
go ahead.
Who cares how he's doing?
We obviously just finished the old NBA All-Star. We had
Yes.
our events. Before we get into it, we've got an action-packed schedule that we've got to get through. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick it off with a little recap. We've got UFC 284 and Super Bowl. So we'll kick it off with UFC 284, the result of the main event. Do we think there's a rematch in the coming,
Wow.
or how do we find?
So I would have called for a rematch, but given this whole news with the IV, and given that Makhachev may be facing a potential suspension and a potential vacation of the title,
I'll jump in there. So you sent me first thing this morning
Yeah.
some potential breaking news that we're going to start seeing
yeah,
to
yeah,
unfold in the next
not
coming
gospel,
days.
not news, but
sources.
something to watch. Yeah,
So there's an ongoing investigation about the IV situation that has happened with Makhachev. There's belief surrounded the situation that Islam may face up to a 2-year suspension, title stripped, fight with Volk changed to an NC, and Oliveira versus Darius will fight for the title.
Dariush, yeah,
Dariush.
Benil Dariush. So I would have called for a Volk rematch because I think that was a very close fight. I personally don't think it was a robbery, so I had it at 48-47 to Makhachev. I was leaning 48-47. I should say that much. I had rounds 1 and rounds 4 for Makhachev. Round 4 was dicey though because he did have the back, which is a very dominant position in mixed martial arts, but he didn't deliver a whole lot of damage. Well,
So I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
So he had the back, but he was just sitting on the back and he wasn't doing
Exactly.
anything. Now, I mean, I'm kind of a novice to it, but I mean, obviously you get points for your takedowns and whatnot. But when you're sitting on someone and you're kind of like delaying the fight and you're just
Yes.
sitting on points betting, I mean, it's a little bit of the Floyd tactic.
yeah,
in
it's
a way.
EDAS. Yeah, it's Floyd tactic. So they've changed the rules in the last 10 years to where that it's damage-based scoring. So the more damage you actually do on your opponent, then that's scored as higher value towards those rounds. But unfortunately, he did have a lot of back control, and the damage, these little shots don't cause a whole lot of damage in my eyes. They're annoying more than anything. So I think with that much control, because that's the next step that goes behind the damage, is effective grappling. And having 2-3 minutes of back control, I lean towards giving him that 4th round. But what do you think about that sort of scoring?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with the changes that they put in place to
Yeah.
put more emphasis on the damage rather than ground control, because we were seeing some really boring situations where people were fighting to maintain a position, not to take advantage of it.
GSP.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's tough, and I would err on the side of Islam's a champ. He had a very compromising position. You know, he was looking to get a submission. It's not like he was sitting there doing completely nothing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm not mad that they would give that round to him, but yeah, I mean, if anything, those punches were trying to get a response out of Islam to try and make a mistake rather than do any damage to him.
Basically, back to my scoring, I had 1 and 4 to Makhachev, and 2 and 5. Well, 5 was the clearest round in the whole fight.
Almost 10-8?
Nah,
That's a Volk fan scoring right there.
Yeah, exactly. But it was the clearest round of the fight, and there was a lot of damage done in that 5th round. And 3rd round was the swing round for me. I kind of leaned towards Makhachev because I believe it was there was a little bit of control time, I think, against the fence, and Volk got up. So we watched it on our iPad because our power was out. So
He was
the
very
memory's a little
impressive
fuzzy.
with that, though. Volk,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first time I've sort of seen Volk a full fight live, and I was super impressed with how he was defending the takedown, how he's getting up from the takedown.
He's
it was
just the man.
outstanding.
Like, he's just a gamer. He's an absolute competitor. Like, you give him any challenge and he'll do the
He faced
requisite
it head on.
training to, stand up to that challenge. And he's my favorite fighter, bro. Even after that loss. Well, loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you stand on the whole robbery thing?
No, I mean, I'm not mad that they gave it to him. As a Volk fan like yourself, I would have loved to see him get the hand raised. And even himself, he claims that it was 3-2 to him. And, I mean, it's just so tough. And with other champions that have been in a similar situation like Izzy, you kind of have the whole idea of you've got to beat the champ to be the champ.
It's the nature of the scoring in a way.
Exactly. But I mean, to go back to your argument about whether he gets a rematch, I think the IV scandal, we'll call it for now, is more of a reason to have a rematch because we didn't get a fair fight.
Yes.
So let's see it. Let's see them run it back. Let's make sure there's none of this silly buggers going on, and let's see them, go at it again because it's going to be an interesting fight and entertaining.
That was my
thing
next
is,
question.
like-
What do we see next for this division?
So I honestly think there is a lot of weight to this IV scandal. So just to clarify it all, Dan Hooker has come out. He was the first one to be very vocal about it. And he has accused Makachev and his team of bringing a registered nurse over to perform an IV to rehydrate him after the weigh-ins. Because obviously Makachev cuts a whole lot of weight. Like, he's a big boy for that lightweight division and he's taking on a featherweight. So
he was naked at the weigh-in, so he's cutting like a serious cut.
Exactly. So they've brought a nurse over to rehydrate him. The commission, so you can do that within 100 milliliters. You can rehydrate 100 milliliters, but you have to disclose it to the commission to where you are fighting, and that's where the murky area comes in. Australia is very harsh. I think they knew that, and they haven't disclosed it to the Australian Commission, and so now it is a very big deal.
They've tried to stand in the shadows and get away with a bit of robbery.
Exactly. Yeah. So I honestly see this going a little bit murky for them. I'm thinking like a 6-month suspension for Makachev. His title will be vacated. That news, I think, has a bit of weight. I know we didn't get the greatest source, but I think there is weight to that story, and I think Volk will be next in line for the winner of Charles versus Dariush.
Do you think 6 months is a little bit light?
Well,
When you talk about
the reason I say
preparing for
6
the next
months
fight?
is because it's honestly because they have the sleaziest manager in all of mixed martial arts, Ali Abdelaziz, and he knows how to mitigate punishments. He knows how to work his way. He knows all
around
the
the bush.
loopholes to mitigate the damage that his fighters will take in suspension. So I think they could get away with something. Yeah, not away, but
No, it's exciting. I'm excited to see how it sort of all unfolds. I'm excited to see what Volk has next, and how this is all sort of going to play out, and sort of open eyes to a few other people.
Well, his other option is Yair, which is to go back down to featherweight, and I believe you said Eugene Berryman said that's probably his best course of action, going back down to fight Yair.
Yeah, exactly. So he was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Hawani saying that fighting Yair would be what you call the harder fight and his best option because it's a good challenging scrap for him in that weight division, and he was saying that Yair is a harder opponent to prepare for, which is quite obvious. They knew exactly what Islam was going to bring, and that was some really tough
Well,
ground control.
You know exactly what Yair's going to bring.
You
don't know exactly, but yeah,
you know he's going to be flary. You know he's going to try to take those shots that are just out, and he's going to bring heavy kicks, which Islam wasn't really kick. Although Islam did throw a few kicks, but
he stood up and went for it.
Yeah, but I mean, so I think for Volk's year ahead, it's interesting, right? Like he could defend the belt against Yair, and then while the Dariush and Oliveira fight plays out, and then later in the end of the year he goes to try and take it back and be the double champ before Christmas. I mean, that would be a great way for his year to progress.
Well, he's on his way to GOAT status, in my opinion, much like a Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's right on his way.
There he is.
And there's your segue.
Again, I'm excited to see sort of what happens next. The division around all of these guys is absolutely jam-packed.
Killers, man.
Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting cards and a lot to talk about coming up. You mentioned it before, GOATs, Patty Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs wearing white. They get the 38-35 win over the Eagles, now making the record for the team wearing white over the last 19 Super Bowls, now 16-3. Now, Patrick Mahomes wins MVP after 182 passing yards, 3 touchdowns on a 21-27 completion. Now, you might be looking at that thinking the passing yards and the completions are a bit light. He was kept off the field for a long time throughout that game, and he's just come up and absolutely outstanding. Travis Kelce finishes with 1 touchdown, 81 yards on 100% completion, 6 of 6, and Isaiah Pacheco 76 rush yards and 1 touchdown. Outstanding game for all 3 of those Chiefs. What do you guys sit on the performance from that?
Well, I'm just going to say that game is the coffee game for me because I was sleeping. I was fast asleep on how complete this Chiefs team was. I slept on the running game. I slept on how good their skill players like Kadarius Toney and all of those guys were. And I slept on their O-line and I slept on their defense. Like, I know the defense only got, the one sack, I think?
But 2 defensive touchdowns, that was
Exactly.
huge.
Well,
It was just one.
Just
It
the
wasn't
one,
just
but
yes,
it
sorry,
could have
yes, it
easily
could have
been
been,
2.
yeah.
I thought it was 2. Like, that was a pretty of a...
They overturned it. You must have been asleep at the
I was sleeping watching the game. But how could you? Because it was such a good game. I'm real surprised at how good this Chiefs team is. And it just looks like the dynasty, like we were saying on Mark's show, it's just going to keep turning over, man.
A lot of teams slept on the Chiefs throughout this season. In previous years, we've obviously seen the likes of Pat Mahomes linking with Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Now they don't have that number one wide receiver, and they've managed to just build around Patrick Mahomes and what he does best. Now we're going to protect him more, and we're going to give him the defense so he can get back on the field. And they get the run game going. I mentioned it. It's sort of what was going to be the defining moment in a way, Pacheco and McKinnon. We didn't see a lot of McKinnon in those screenplays, but why bring him on when Pacheco's just eating up meters? It was
and you said before as well about his stats not being godly and like outerworldly, but in the second half, 13 of 14 passes completed and a 26-yard run on a bum ankle that was crucial to like leading them towards that drive to win it. So
when you talk about leaders, there's guys like that making those plays. It defines those moments.
Yeah,
absolutely outstanding.
But was he the best player on the field?
No. Jalen Hurts, 304 pass yards, 1 passing touchdown. Now, 70 rush yards, 3 rushing touchdowns.
Holy
Devontae
hecka.
Smith, 100 receiving yards. A.J. Brown, 96 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. The absolute pickup for them. He balled out in the Super Bowl, the biggest moment that they needed. He was making plays, him and Hurts. It was just a shame that, Mark touched on it. It was just a couple of plays that didn't really get it done for them.
Man. Yes, it was a great performance by Jalen Hurts. Maybe one of the best performances I've actually seen live on TV. Like you said, 3 rushing touchdowns. Was a couple of them quarterback sneaks?
I think one of them was.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce came out and said after the game as well that he believed that if there was a moment for it to be an MVP on a losing team, Jalen Hurts absolutely deserved that.
As a not as ingrained in the football space as we are, how did you find that game to watch, and how did you think of some of the performances from some of those players?
Some football games are definitely like in the season, you get a blowout or a team gets a lead up early and it kind of shut the gates early. But that game was thrilling right till the very end. They were tied with a few minutes left and could have gone to overtime quite easily. So, I was watching it right through. And for someone who doesn't often sit there and watch a full, game of NFL, it was really entertaining. Yeah, you had everything. You had defensive touchdowns. You had Hail Mary, almost, really long receiving touchdowns. You had quarterbacks running.
Yeah.
There was
no sacks. It was offense galore.
There was the longest ever punt return. That was huge for the Chiefs.
Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, that was absolutely huge because that got that run, right into the Seagulls half, like straight then and there.
All right, let's cut the cheese, boys. Patrick Mahomes, how many rings is he going to end up with?
Okay, now Patrick Mahomes already has 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
He's 2-time Super Bowl MVP. He's a 2-time NFL MVP. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 1 times Offensive Player of the Year. Now, Pat Mahomes is 27 years old, and he's only been starting in the NFL for 5 seasons. Now, if he's not going to the Super Bowl, he's going to the AFC Championship. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. He's got Kelsey on his team, is just unbelievably reliable week in and week out, no matter what game it is. And you've got Andy Reid that's ready to do whatever it takes to win. Possibilities are endless. I've said it before. Tom Brady, he's coming for you. He's coming.
Confidence on a scale of 100 as to if he catches Brady for rings or not.
I'm going to sit 90 on that.
Damn,
that's really there. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. I was so worried about the Chiefs coming into this because of the ankle situation. You mentioned the play that he makes to run. He can do it all, and he can do it all on one leg.
Yeah, he is so good. He's the best player in the NFL right now. I don't see him catching Tom Brady's 7 rings because that is crazy. And the reason is because Father Time is undefeated. And it's not because of him. Father Time won't kiss him, but Travis Kelce's not that young. And Andy Reid isn't that young either. He's 63 years old. Like, how long does he want to be coaching? You know what I mean? So I think he's the genius that makes this all turn. I know Patrick Mahomes is a super talent, but without that green light, and his schematics on offense, can they consistently win like they have been?
You're still sleeping, bro.
Am I still sleeping? Man.
I'm convinced. But I said earlier, he doesn't have the likes of Tyreek Hill. He's got
Yeah.
He's got minimal offensive weapons, and they've built around him, and
Yeah.
they've established what they can sort of do with him. And now this is the first year that we've seen Pat Mahomes really perform with a running game behind him, and that's something.
Pacheco was amazing.
Exactly, and you look at their divisional rivals, the Bills, and it's something that they've continuously struggled to have. They were in the hunt for Christian McCaffrey in the free agency pool, and it's something that didn't come in, and we just saw the Chiefs take that next level above them. So if you can ground and pound it, it's going to open up your field down the line. You got the defense that's going to keep you on there. You got the offensive line that's going to protect your guy.
And they did well. They protect. There was this. Was made to look like an idiot because I said it was going to look a bit like the Buccaneers Super Bowl, but it definitely didn't. Like, he had a lot of protection and he had time to wheel and deal, and they had a fast offense, and they got it done with 10 minutes less offense on the field. So yeah, I was wrong.
I'd love to know who was actually backing the Eagles in that, because we were, besides Mark, we were all set on the back in the Chiefs. We were all set on the Eagles.
Yep.
Everything that I've listened to was just Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. The man gets it done. It's almost like the Melbourne Storm. You can't bet against them. They'll just find a way.
Yeah.
Now we talk about the Storm. We're going to jump on to the
segues
NRL.
galore.
Episode number 3, and we can slide this thing in real smooth. Final round of preseason is going on at the moment. Now, we saw last night the Bunnies in a 42-24 win over the Dragons, and St. Helens win the World Cup Challenge for a third time with a 13-12 win over the Panthers. We'll kick it off with the Bunnies game. Now, first, the Bunnies look fantastic.
Amazing.
They looked
Cookie
red
is
hot.
honestly, he was involved in all of their tries. It was awesome this last game.
Fantastic move for the Bunnies to extend all 3 of those guys moving forward. We all predicted the Dragons this season to be pretty low down
poor,
in our predictions. Preseason is backing that up. Sloane's confidence just looked rocked. He looked like he was lazy on the field. It was a bit of a shame. He was dropping high balls and whatnot. Now, the offense looked clunky. The defense sort of backed that up. Mitch Hunt is going to have one hell of a sore back by the end of the season, carrying them through. The only thing that I'll give out of some sort of positive is Moses Sully. He looks bigger, better, faster, and stronger. Now, as you touched on before, the Bunnies looked absolutely outstanding. Last week, young Dion Tiapa looked absolutely incredible. He's a rookie coming through, so he's going to be the guy that's probably going to take over the reins from Cody Walker and start linking up with Lachlan Ilias. I believe he had, I think it was 2 try assists, 2 tries. I can't remember the run meters. He looked outstanding. Now, you touched on it before. Damien Cook, Walker, Trowell looked absolutely incredible.
Walker, turn back time, almost Benji Marshall-esque with those footwork. The double left foot to get under the sticks.
I think Cody Walker's still got a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, I do as well. And it's exciting seeing just the flair that he brings with Latrell on the field, off the field, and just sort of they're similar type of guys. So they're ready to throw down. If you know what I mean.
Well, Latrell, definitely.
Jai Arrow looked incredible, as so Ilias. Do we think maybe the Bunnies will exceed our expectations this year? I know it's early to jump on that, but it looks like it's flowing bloody well.
So where did we all have them? I believe I had them at 5th.
I don't remember.
I think I had them at 4th.
So I do not think they'll exceed that. I think the results that we saw from them, because in the first round, I believe they lost to the Sea Eagles, and I think that's a team we may have underestimated in our preseason predictions. Because
fly, birds, fly.
Yeah, they're looking good. Your team's looking good, man. But I think the Rabbitohs will sit around where we've projected them. But yeah, you can never count them out. They are a really good team. They've still got elite players in Latrell and Damien Cook. So never count out the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, don't hang your hat on them. No. And if they can keep Latrell on the field and off the suspension list, they're going to be. It's going to be exciting to watch them. They started off pretty slow last year before they started getting things back into motion. I wasn't sure if Lachlan Ilias maybe had sort of reached, I guess you'd say, an early ceiling last year. He exceeded a lot of expectations as a young rookie coming in and being able to steer that team across the paddock with the likes of Latrell and Cody.
Very underrated defender, can't be picked on. No. Like, his side is always very solid. Usually they send a lot of big boys down that channel, as you would, given that they're usually the smallest players on the field, but he was really solid last year, and he started to come into his own once he got that confidence.
Now the Panthers take on St. Helens last night. Gus Gould tweeted earlier this week they should be able to declare it by halftime, meaning the Panthers are going to get an easy win. Now Alex Walmsley had a lot to say last night to Gus, and it was great to see a little bit of rivalry going across the two.
That is good,
across the two nations. Are we a little bit worried about what we saw from the Panthers in the preseason? I know you were early to jump on the Panthers being clutch last night. They didn't come up clutch, but
No, they didn't. No, I was really early on that. But
Brad Cook earlier.
yeah, shout out. Always one to overestimate. But I didn't like what I saw. Both them and the Roosters, I haven't really been liking what I've seen from them, given that they were my top 2 picks. But I don't think it's danger signs. Now, they still have Cleary. They still have a fantastic roster. I know they lost some elite players like we've talked about, but I don't think it's danger signs yet. I think once the season starts, we'll start to see that usual Panthers dominance come into fray. Their defense will be solid. They'll still have a great offense given Luai and Cleary on those edges making plays. So
I'm not sure if it'll be the same sort of season this season where we'll see them just going through unscathed. There's a few chinks in the armor, and I think we're about to see a little bit of. We're going to see how good Nathan Cleary and Ivan Cleary actually are.
They've been rolling around like this unbeatable beast for maybe even 3 years. I know they lost in the finals to the Storm, and that's beatable, but they were even dominant throughout that whole season. I agree. This will be the first season you'll start to see, lost to the Eels by 20. Oh, well, they did that last year, but you know what I mean? They'll start losing some games they probably shouldn't.
Yeah. One to jump on with the tipping if anyone else.
Yeah.
For me, Spencer Leniu looked absolutely outstanding. He looks like he's ready to unleash. I think the combination of him and Liam Martin is going to be one for the league to watch this year. Round 1. Now, Taylor May is going to serve his 2-week suspension. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Taruva is the one that's going to be filling in that left wing spot. And he's going to be one to watch because he's going to be wanting to make an impression very early on and see what he can do. That roster is just jam-packed. That back 5 is jam-packed. There's going to be a lot of teams out there making some calls all season long, and I think the Panthers would be very silly to let him go with obviously Crichton moving on next year. I'm interested to see how he plays out. Where do you sort of sit on the Panthers if you watched anything from last night?
Yeah, I did watch the highlights of the game last night. And, I mean, Taylor May came up clutch with a nice run down the sideline. So I think they do need to keep him in the squad. And I think he's only going to get better because he is still quite young.
Yeah.
But I think with more time in the spotlight, he'll have to come up a lot more clutch. I think he's one of those guys that will see, he'll put his stamp on the team, and he's not going to be the one that's going to rely on other people to put him in the spots. He'll get busy. And just to talk on the whole preseason thing, I think a bit of a caveat for the teams that finish in the top 5, they probably approach the preseason a lot different to teams like the Eagles and
100%.
the Dragons and things like that, where they thought, okay, we need to put things together early.
Well, you would think that, but I'm seeing a lot of big names playing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of big names suiting up.
They're getting taken off early.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think they were looking to win games. They might have been looking to win like moments and put things together, but they probably weren't outcome focused.
Yeah, okay. Before we move on from the NRL preseason, because...
we've still got a lot more.
Oh, we still got a lot more? Because I need to talk some Warriors at some point.
Yeah, we're going to jump into that last because I was just pulling up the score for that then.
Yeah.
I've popped down a couple of players to watch that have just impressed me so far in the preseason. Now, first off the list, you mentioned Warriors. We're going in with this again. Reece Walsh, ex-Warrior.
Wow,
His first touch of the ball with the Broncos, he scored. He looked absolutely fantastic with ball in hand and off the boot. You'd send me that highlight play of him kicking goals. I mean, how great is it for the Broncos now with Adam Reynolds being a little bit older and potentially seeing him not play too many games? They've got a reliable kicker in that backup spot. He just brings that X factor to the Broncos that I think they've been lacking a little bit. We saw Cobbo just looked outstanding.
Cobbo's looking good too.
Really good.
But you get the errors with Cobbo, and that's sort of what outweighs, maybe not outweighs the pros to the cons.
I'm a Warriors fan. I won't let you get away. You get the errors from Reece Walsh too. Like
it's just fantastic
for a couple of years.
To see some flair, and I'm excited to see how this sort
agree.
of spine interacts with each other with the likes of Reynolds, and you've got Ezra Mann, and now you've got Reece Walsh in the mix. It's going to be pretty exciting to see. He kicked a 40-20 as well.
Yeah.
Suali'i looks like he's going to be playing left centre. Now, you've got two skyscrapers on that left edge now in him and Tupou. Jackson Polo looked fantastic. He's going to potentially be that upgrade or the upgrade for them in that back five.
He's also a skyscraper.
Yeah, no, it's a
tall boy
big,
as well.
big back five. We saw Hutchinson play a lot in that sort of centre role on that left edge towards the end of last year. So I think that's that move for Suoli'i there. I quite like it, but the only thing I'm a little bit sceptical of is when you think Suoli'i, you think kick returns. And you think it early.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be getting those kick returns, but he's going to be moving back from that centre role, and it's going to be on like that third tackle sort of thing. You're not going to get him to see that initial return.
Yeah,
off the
like he
first
was so
or off the
effective
second.
during the World Cup for Samoa. Yeah, catching it from the
exactly.
back and just beelining it straight into the defense.
Yeah, it's huge for a guy. What is he, 19, and just to eat up meters like that and be that physical is just unreal.
Yeah.
You wanted to touch on the Roosters. Do you want to touch on it now?
No,
you saw a little bit.
The Roosters. I didn't really see much from them. I actually didn't watch their game. I was just thinking more Warriors.
Cheese, he actually looks not too bad. He's bringing a little bit of
okay.
flair around the ruck. I've seen him. He hit a nice little short ball with a
Right.
two-man skip out on the line. He's going to bring something a little bit different to that pack, and he's going to be that physical kind of guy in the middle. The Bird game, Kohler, fuck me.
Yeah.
That guy is just going to take an absolute leap forward this season. He looked so deadly against the Chook. He's big. He moves so fast. I'm so excited to see
He's
how
looking
this
like
guy
a
breaks
star.
into
This
the-
could be his breakout season for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
When you got like the likes of Turbo, you're talking about I forget his name now, moving to Ruben Garrick, moving to fullback, and you've got guys like that are just going to put the league on notice. Now I got a little asterisk here. Cooper Johns. Are you guys familiar with him?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Played with the Storm, obviously left, and Manly picked him up this season. Now the Schuster experiment begins.
Yep.
I don't know how this is all going to play out with Manly. I think it was a good pickup for them bringing him in.
Okay.
And he's been looking pretty good in preseason. Now, he's going to be learning off DCE, which is just going to be fantastic for him. But I'm interested to see if they potentially move Schuster back to that left edge, if things start to look a little bit clunky and we start to see Cooper Johns fill in.
Yeah. I know Schuster has all the ball skills in the world, and he is a big boy, and he's been playing second row for the last couple of years. But I think it is always a good idea to have a reliable, more skillful, more smaller, more kicking orientated half like a Cooper Johns, just in case. I think it should be the contingency plan, having Cooper Johns there as a backup.
It's a smart move.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looked good in preseason, but Schuster's one that goes for the flashy plays all the time. And flashy players don't always pay off.
No.
Especially when you got wingers hunting for that intercept. The cutout ball isn't always on. So it will be interesting to see how they go.
On paper, it looks like it would work with a flashy sort of take it to the line, try an offload, or try a nice skip ball, Schuster sort of player to go with your DCE, which is a more traditional kicking oriented, go for 40-20s, good short kicking game, and just control the field sort of thing. So it could be like a relationship that you have with the Panthers with Luai and Cleary.
Yeah.
But
He's
like
physical.
you said,
He's a physical big boy. It's just come out as well today. Mitch Pearce has been quoted that he'd like to potentially look at moving back to the NRL for one more season before hanging them up.
Who's going to pick him up though?
Yeah, exactly.
the doggies.
So I actually
Where's
like
my team?
I like this take from the Guru. So he's said the Tigers. Mitch's dad finished off at the Tigers. He says it is quite like a fitting way for him to go out. I quite like him bringing that experience back into the squad.
Yeah.
The next one that sort of came to me is I wouldn't mind him seeing at the Wires either.
Honestly, that's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind that either. I reckon he's a good half. He started showing signs of durability problems towards the end. He tore his pec like multiple times, and his defense was starting to look a little bit shoddy. So I don't think he's got enough in the tank maybe to be at first grade. But
he's had that year off. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
could-
going to be a type of guy that comes in and maybe just gives some experience
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
team,
exactly.
or you might have like your young guys developing and they just sort of learn
like a
off him.
Benji role towards the end with the Rabbitohs, where he was coming in at 17 and, he was still adding a spark, but he obviously wasn't the player that he once was. And he was just used there to, develop your Eliases and whatnot. Yeah.
It's interesting to see because the Knights let him go. They wouldn't sign him on a long-term deal. Now, what the Knights lacked last year was a 7, the whole year.
Wow, yeah.
And you've had Ponga now moved into the halves. I think they're regretting that a little bit. And yeah, it's interesting that Mitch has now said, I've got value here. I want to come back.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I mean, the Wars, do we need another half? I mean, we've got, I guess, a problem of Metcalf's injured at the moment, but I mean, if you brought him in now with Pierce, there's too many to play. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe the Knights, because Ponga, like we said it before the season even started, he's been a head-high magnet already, taking a few cheap shots. So, I mean, yeah, his health could be in question. Maybe he does go back there, but I mean, I like what you're saying with the Tigers. I mean, they do need some generalmanship.
It would be fitting for him to finish his career back off at the Knights, though, as well. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if anyone does pick up the phone and give old Mitch a call. Now, to finish us off, the Wars. We haven't had a chance to watch the last preseason. 24-6, the Storm have just beaten them. Now, we've seen...
And I was coming in with such confident takes.
Waitini scored first try, and then it's just the Storm have run away with it. We've seen tries to Katua, Warbrick, Big Nouse and Coates. So, George, where do you stand on it, mate?
So my confidence for the Warriors to make the top 8 was at 20%. And then after last week's 48-12 victory over the Tigers, it rose to 35%. But now that you tell me this, it's back down to about 25%. So the Warriors gave me a lot of hope. I loved what Tamati
You've
Martin...
got one of those little heart.
Yeah. That'll be my graph. Oh yeah, it'll be like, oh yes, Wars 8. Oh no, that's terrible. But no, Tamati Martin and Luke Metcalf were the standouts for me last week. We didn't watch this game obviously because we're here, but they were so impressive. They had a threatening speed that has been missing in the halves recently with the Warriors. When we've had like Blake Green and Tavita Harris isn't the fastest guy in the world, and Johnson's getting a bit up there in age, so. It looked really dangerous and really threatening, and I liked what I saw, but it's just real unfortunate about the Metcalf injury. Yeah. So hopefully that depth we have with Johnson and with Mitchell Pearce sort of helps us out.
It'll be interesting to see how they play Metcalf this season. We were asked earlier on Mark's show about him potentially being a 14th man, and I was going away looking for that, and I forgot that they'd brought in, what's his name, Dylan Walker from Manly as well. So there's a lot to jump in on that 14th man, but he's looked outstanding, and he's a big boy as well. One thing that looked fantastic with the Warriors offense is they finally, both halves were connecting on each edge, and it's something that we saw all throughout last season and used to just get so frustrated with is like Sean would just play his side and whoever was in that 6th row would just play their side as well. We finally got to see some flow in the offense, and we want to see some big, some forwards ball playing. And I mean, we saw Montoya get his hat trick off on that left edge and that
He's
right
like
to left sweep. No, it's very exciting. Simon, you're their number one fan, mate. How have you found the Wars?
Well, I mean, like you said, I think the biggest thing is the connecting of the halves. Like, to make a comparison to the teams that did really well last year, Panthers and also the Storm, and they have their halves playing both sides of the field. Like, how many times do you see Cleary and Luai link up in the same play? So, I mean, I think that's such a huge, difference to the moves that you can offer on the 4th and 5th tackles is having those halves link up. So, I mean, if they can continue to do that, they'll score a lot more tries because I don't know if historically we haven't had the same sort of beanstalks on the edges, and we didn't really get more tries from kicking it into the corners. So we had to run the ball to score most of our tries. So if we can link up like that, we'll have a lot, a better season. But I mean, you said with the Metcalf injury, Shawnee's going to have to pick up. He's going to have to be the one to lead the team and take the ball to the line. He's got the size to do it now. We've seen.
He's been picking up.
He's been picking up the tin. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, his physique makes me think that he knows he was going to struggle to get these half rolls, and he was thinking maybe I can offer value as a ball playing second rower.
A big lock.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got the mental to take it up. But it's a different style. I mean, Harms can play halves, but you can't play in the second row.
Oh no.
All right, preseason done. What's just about to kick off is Super Rugby.
Wow.
Now, this coming Friday, we've got the Crusaders taking on the Chiefs in Christchurch. Now, it looks like Will Jordan is still struggling with his migraine conditions from the end of the All Black 22 season. Where do we see this one going?
Okay, so did you want to start on this one?
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I was looking at the squads this morning and seeing what sort of moves were made in the off season, and I mean, the Crusaders are still stacked, so stacked. And I was looking at the pros and cons, and the forward pack that the Crusaders have has still got some really key forwards like Whitelock. They've got Blackadder.
Blackadder's back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, and then you look at the only issue I could see in the Crusaders team is that they've lost Bryn Hall, and so they're looking to put a lot of pressure on on Drummond, but he's not a bad
But
halfback.
then they've got Willie Hines off the bench, who's been around the
Yeah.
block. He's been to England and back.
You're
like,
right, yeah. I mean, and then if you look in the backs, they've got Moanga, which is just like,
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not put a team on his shoulders? So, I mean, and then you look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a really good forward pack as well. They've got some really key people.
really good forward pack.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, exactly. And then the issue that I see is that they've got, the positive I was thinking is like they've got Weber and Gatlin in their general positions, and those guys are just well they've got a good relationship together, been playing
They're
a long time
experienced
together,
now.
Yeah.
and they know how to win a game. And then you've just got a really exciting like outer backs. The only thing I saw maybe that the Chiefs will lack is a midfield. I mean, there was
I'm so high on Alex Nankerville.
I
I'm
am
gutted.
too.
I'm gutted.
I think
about
their
this.
midfield's great.
So
Yeah.
he's just signed a 2-year deal with Munster, and he's off overseas. I think he is so underrated.
I think so too. I think
There we
he
go.
should have been maybe looked at
Called
getting a All Blacks call up. Yeah, I'm high on the Chiefs too. I think they're a really good team. They had a great performance against the Blues last night, or maybe Friday night. Yeah, they're looking outstanding. The Crusaders, like you said, just to echo all your points, is going to be, that's my pick to win the whole competition again.
I agree.
It's going to be the send-off for Razor. They're going to go through and win the competition, but that's not who I'm picking to win this game. I think the Crusaders traditionally start off slow, and the Chiefs have been riding high off that Blues win. They're looking good. They're looking dangerous. I think there's going to be a boil over. I've got the Chiefs winning 27-21.
I haven't got a score for you, but I'm leaning towards the Chiefs in that one as well.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we'll hit it off with Saturday. We move into the Highlanders Blues down in the old Dunners. The Red Hawk Blues are up against Highlanders side that now has Smith in his last dance tour and Fakatava back from injury, and he's hungry to prove a point
Yeah,
to the
for sure,
selectors
yeah.
as well. So I'm leaning towards the Blues on this one. That Blues squad looks so strong. They look experienced
Yeah.
now, and they look like they're ready to really sort of cement themselves in this competition.
Yeah, the Blues, in terms of like chopping and changing, they haven't really, they've got Tui Pelotu back.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
That's a big piece to that forward pack.
Exactly. So that's a huge gain, and they haven't lost a whole lot from what I've seen in the ins and outs. The Highlanders stomped the Blues, stomped the Highlanders in the quarterfinal last year, 35-7, and they swept the series, won the other two games during the regular season as well. I think the Blues kind of just have a little hoodoo over the Highlanders at the moment. The Highlanders aren't the most talented team in the world. They're kind of like the ugly stepchild of the New Zealand teams. Like, I'm honestly predicting that our four best teams will be the four best teams in all of Super Rugby Pacific, so above any Australian, any Fijian, Jura, any other teams. But yeah, I see this game going to the Blues, 30-23.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I would agree with a score like that. Maybe even a little bit of a bigger gap. Maybe,
Yeah, I just thought there's gonna be a little figuring out combinations and getting back into the swing of things. You're never gonna get blowout too often in the first games.
The one thing that I thought was worrisome with the Blues is that Tui Pelotu is the only sort of lock that I recognise as a real standout player. I mean, the back. The loose forwards, for the Blues are like elite.
Yeah.
You've got some huge names there. So maybe they've got line-out options through them. But I was thinking maybe in the scrum, maybe in the line-out, they're going to lack a few options, and line-outs are a huge part of rugby. I mean, Blues have struggled many years to win their own ball a few times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be huge if you play that to your strategy. So, I mean, their back line is just awesome.
Yeah, wow.
So as long as they can set a platform, and as long as we can, get the ball wide going forward, which is one of the biggest rugby cliches ever.
attacking forward, attacking footy.
Honestly, yeah, the Blues will look great. I can't wait to see what they do.
I'm super excited to see Finlay Christie this year.
Yeah.
He had a bit of a shaky tour towards the back end of last year, and he, for me, was sort of verging on. I was almost had him more. I had him as maybe the informed halfback over Smith towards the end of last year.
Interesting.
He's just so quick around that ruck.
Yep.
And Tui Vasa. The combination
sure.
between him and Rico is going to be one to watch this year. He needs to really put his foot down and sort of stake his claim for that jersey.
Yeah.
That's what he's come over to do. And in my eyes, I think once this World Cup's done, is that he hasn't quite cracked it, that'll be him back to lead.
Yeah, I fully agree with
So
that.
we need to see this sort of come out this year.
It's his last dance
It
too,
is his
pretty
last
much.
dance.
Yeah. What do you have a score for that game?
I don't have a score, but I'm definitely be going Blues 13
Okay.
plus over the Highlanders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like
Big
that
score.
margin.
Last one for us is the Reds Hurricanes in Brisbane on Saturday. Now, Jason Holland said a few weeks ago on Geordie Barrett, he's a capable, he's really capable at 15, but I see a skill set in the way that the game is nowadays, played nowadays, and the need for your midfield to be tough, strong, and get your gain line, and there's no space, when there's no space. Now, to also identify where space is and be able to get the ball there. Now, I couldn't agree more with that statement. It's obviously what we saw with the All Blacks at the back end of last year. For me, he's the best number 12 in the world at the moment.
Yep.
I think that's why David Harvey burst onto the scene. He's a 12 that sort of came from a 10 background, and it's so underrated. I mean, you talk about drivers within the game, and you get these big, meaty second fives that just want to cut the ball up and whatnot, and you see a different sort of skill set with Geordie Barrett. He's someone that can kick from anywhere. He's got a long boot.
It's like a
him.
hybrid of multiple different skill sets from multiple different positions.
Exactly. And I'm excited to see how the season goes, where the Hurricanes just say, look, here's the 12 jersey for you. Show us what you can do. It's going to be exciting to watch. Now, for me, the Hurricanes are the most intriguing team this year. You've got Geordie at 12. What's Ruben Love going to do? He's been given the reins to 15. He said, look, the jersey's there for you. Show us what you can do. Give us a bit of flair. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And then you also spin in the mix Peter Lackey. So do not take the Hurricanes lightly this season.
No. And they're surging off a fantastic Bunnings NPC campaign where they were playing really high pace, really good intensity off the set piece. They look like a really dangerous team. And if they can translate that form into the Super Rugby campaign, they may not have the star players as these Crusaders and these Blues and even these Chiefs teams, but they honestly can do some boilovers and they can be a very threatening team come the end of the season when all these young players have...
You're not on radio, mate.
Sorry, I still got it embedded in me that I can't swear. But all these young players get used to the Super Rugby intensity, and I think they could be dangerous come season's end,
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about RTS and trying to crack the All Blacks. I mean, there's one guy that's got that jersey over him, and that's Geordie.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, he's going to be huge. And that comment about the way 12 needs to play the game and carting the ball up and providing that game, I think that's how the 12 has always needed to play. I just think that a lot of teams moved away from a good, simple version of rugby. And I think what we're seeing is Geordie showing what a good 12 can do. And the one thing you guys didn't mention is the pace. Like, he can cart the ball, but he is just as quick as his brother, or thereabouts. So like
he's got a bit of toe.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if you put him through a hole, he's going to get to that fullback pretty quickly, and he's got some good people outside him. So I would see a lot of assists coming from him just through some line breaks alone. But in the game against, what are they playing? The Reds. Yeah, I mean, 13 plus is probably a safe bet.
Yeah, so I've got it Hurricanes 44-24. I think the Reds will score some tries in front of their hometown. They've got a whole lot of young talent. They won 8 games last year. They're not like complete scrubs. They've got Jordan Pataya, Taniela Tupou, Hunter Paisami. They've got Suliasi Vunivalu. Yeah, so they've got a lot of good players, but I think this Hurricanes team is surging from that Bunnings NPC. Like I said, I think they're going to be dangerous.
You touched on, again, I'll keep delving into that a little bit more. So Geordie Barrett is kind of like the complete sort of 12 for me. He's a big body and he's someone that moves very well in space. Now, when you're playing patterns in footy, you play like the 1-3-3-1s, and the All Blacks also delve into like a 2-2-3.
Yep.
And so he'll be playing out the back of pods and whatnot, and so you'll be moving around the park, and your first receiver will be the guy that has that little bit less time, and he'll be either hitting that pod or playing up the back of it. And then what happens with your space when you've got these big mobile forward packs is you'll be looking to suck in sort of that outside defense with a couple of short plays or whatnot, whether it's coming off the first receiver or off the deck. When you play out the back and then you're giving it to Geordie, is a big man with a big boot and a big pass, and it's just someone that will move really, really well in space. And that's what he's come from 12. He played for NZ 20s as a 12, so he's comfortable with the position. Yeah, and it's going to be very exciting to see even how the Hurricanes play this year, whether they sort of implement maybe a type of pattern that the All Blacks will be using to the end of next season, just to see how he actually moves in these sort of shapes and whatnot and what they can create with it. So, yeah, I mean, they're intriguing, but the whole Geordie Barrett sort of situation is one that I'm really excited to watch this year. NBA All-Star Weekend. So the Rising Stars, Team Powell gets the win 25-20 over Team Joe Kim. Jose Alvarado wins MVP. They had a stacked team. Benedict Mathurin, Scotty Barnes, Banchero, Ivy, and obviously the MVP, Alvarado. Quentin Grimes had himself a night out. So in round 1, he had 13, and in the final, he had 14. Do we like the format of how it's running at the moment with
Explain
the 4
it to
teams? I'm hoping you're going to explain it to me.
No, I didn't actually watch it.
So it's 4 teams that play at the moment, and it's a minimal roster, and they're selected by former players and whatnot, and they play against each other. And so there's a sort of point system that you have to get to, similar to the NBA All-Star game before they actually determine the winner. What I really used to like was the format of the Rising Stars, where we'd have like Team World versus Team USA and the likes of that.
Yeah.
And it's an exhibition game for the young bucks. In the All-Star game, we see like, you don't see guys come out and do like the hungry dunks and the big, 360 slams and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what the Rising Stars are there to do. They're rising stars. They're hungry for it. They're hungry to show out. It was a really competitive game. So you got that aspect of it, which was nice to see, rather than just like the last 3 minutes where they're just
going back and forth, trying to do windmills.
Who should have been in the dunk contest and whatnot. But yeah, the format of it is a little bit interesting as opposed to the traditional game.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Better or worse?
It has its pros and cons. Like you said, you see a more competitive style of basketball, but you're not seeing the all-star and sort of them break it down.
To be fair, like in the years past where it does in the Rising Stars game get into those later moments in the games and they are starting to go dunk for dunk and they sometimes miss or they'll sometimes hit one.
It's super entertaining.
It is entertaining when they hit, but then sometimes they're just missing and they're going back and forth and you're like, okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, it's a bunch of like, it's just playing around. Like it's a little bit of fluffing around. So
which is why they've introduced this.
So did you manage to catch it at all?
No,
So
I didn't.
If it had a good balance between the entertainment of the crazy dunks that they do on their own and the competitive aspect of it, I'd be all for it. But
they were just going at each other. It was good.
Yeah.
From what I saw, it was good basketball, but it wasn't the all-star kind of flair where maybe we got to see some young guns show how much bunny hops they had.
because at the end of the day, I'm a purist. I like good competitive basketball. I want to see who wants to win.
Exactly. And especially in an all-star weekend when you've got the best players playing against the best players, you want to see sort of who the best players really are.
100%. Nail on the head.
I think the ideal version of a Rising Stars game would be like the footy that you see in like a game 6 or 7 in the finals, where it's like really slow.
Whoa.
You have, and you have players that, they run pick and rolls, they run ISOs, they're not scoring quickly. It's it's teams that have run all of their offense and defensive patterns, and so it's really about who is the biggest star in the 5v5 format. I think that would probably
who can jam out kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who can really, create points and put it on their shoulders. I think that would probably be the coolest way to see a Rising Stars game,
The only idea that I had was maybe to move back to the traditional format and then bring in like a 3v3 in the half court sort of thing. So you see like a pickup game where you might start seeing the screen plays and whatnot, but just some guys playing some blacktop and
some
really
king of the
jamming
court,
out.
like a team.
To piggyback off that, I would love to see a 1v1 tournament.
I've been
Yeah.
high on that for a while as well.
Yeah, just have like a little 8-man bracket of maybe someone from Utah and then some other young guys. Like, yeah, I reckon that could be real fun.
One player from each team in a 1v1 competition.
Okay.
And then
I
you
like
get the winner with the team.
That
So
might be starting to get a little bit too big and a little too time consuming, but no, I'd
It's
love
It's
something
that.
like
that could
7
be-
or something, it'll be easy to do.
And it can be
quickly.
played across a 3-day sort of event, and then maybe on your
You could have
All-Star
like
final.
you could have using the NBA app like a multiple court experience, like run a couple games at the same time. You can like, let's go see Julius Randle versus
The only
Corey
thing is,
Joseph.
the only thing is maybe you just don't introduce guys that are actually been selected as an all-star.
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
not getting the clash
Yeah.
and whatnot. 3-point contest we just saw before. Dame Dollar
Dame
gets the
Dollar.
dub.
Clutch.
Very
Yeah.
On the
clutch.
very last shot. Yeah.
exactly.
Beats Buddy.
Buddy.
Both favourites heading into this.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more stoked for Dame. It's cool to see him get
exactly.
that. Entertained? Or
Yeah, I am.
Yes,
I am.
very much so. Yep.
I was going to say probably more entertained in the 3-point contest. We had our flatmate Maya, who's she doesn't really watch much basketball. She sat down and watched that, and she was like, "Oh, I actually really enjoy this." She was into
Casey was watching it as well. I'm
Exact-
not sure if she enjoyed it, but she was watching
yeah,
it.
she was there. So to see that, to see casual fans sort of getting into it, and they understand the fundamentals of a shot and when it goes in, and they can get behind a little scoring system.
Wow, this guy's hitting every shot.
Yeah, exactly. So I was entertained by it. The casuals were entertained by it. I think, very successful.
Do we think the competition was that great this year? I mean, Julius bummed out. Herder didn't do too well.
was a few bombs,
Tyler
yeah.
didn't. Yeah, it was a bit interesting, however.
But the big score from Halliburton was real cool to see, and then how it came down to the one shot between Dame and Buddy Hield was also real good. So I give it like a B+ in terms of entertainment value.
I love that they've introduced a deep ball into this finally as
Yeah,
well. It's such
exactly.
a huge part in the NBA.
And it
You've
was
got-
big. Dame was hitting most of them. Yeah.
And he's known for that.
Yep.
There was a stat on it a little while ago where he's shooting ridiculous percentage from back there. And it's just competitions like this are built for guys like that. It's defines. Dunk contest. Mac McClung.
Wow.
Wow.
How's sleeping again? Far out.
This is an interesting one. So he's obviously come from the G League. He's been picked up by the Knicks. He's won the dunk contest. He may be shipped back off his contract and back to the G League.
Was it 76ers though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Who did I say?
Knicks,
The Knicks.
That's a Knicks fan. He's hoping. He's like, oh, that was impressive. Bring him over. Yeah.
It's a little bit interesting. Like, there's the death of the dunk contest, and they're all preaching how the dunk contest is back. But you've just brought someone from outside the NBA into the
great
dunk
point.
contest, and he's just beaten all of your NBA athletes, and he's going to go back to the G League. Just get some stars in there. Someone said in our sport chat there needs to be an incentive, maybe on some cash with it, or there needs to be something around it that's just going to get those guys in there.
Yeah, I don't know what it would take at this point because, well, I mean, is there any effort being put in by the NBA at all? Like, is there any cash incentive, any cash bonus?
Not that
they
I'm
offer?
I mean, they're putting the wrong camera on the wrong guy in the pregame.
Yeah.
That was
Trey
crazy.
Murphy's Kenyon Martin all of a sudden. But, they've got to do something to get these stars involved because you look at Mac McClung and how impressive he was. You think, well, how good it would have been him against Aaron Gordon, him against Zach LaVine, him against Ja Morant. Like, it could have been a ridiculously entertaining performance, and instead it was just a one-man show, really. It felt designed to make Mac McClung win because they knew he was a good dunker.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I was just going to say, tinfoil hats on. Some of those guys in that competition didn't seem like they were putting their best efforts out there. I mean, they were real entertaining dunks, but if you're looking at the way they approached the competition, did you see much of a fire in their eyes? They see
double honey dip isn't the most creative thing in the world.
He didn't even get his arm in the punny.
Sorry. Let me explain that. The double honey dip is crazy, but then to do another honey dip is like, where's the creativity?
to grab the net on the way in?
Where's the versatility, I should say?
Exactly. I mean, and you see like McClung, he goes for over somebody's head, touching the backboard. Then you've got the double clutch, behind the head. He came with creativity and
Everything
difficulty.
clean, high degree of difficulty. They say 6'2", but honestly, like, I reckon that's a
5
push.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon he's about 6'1", 6 foot. So yeah, that was a great performance. That's the best dunk contest performance I've seen since the Aaron Gordon years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all clean. It was all hit in the first go. Zion said that he's keen to do the dunk contest, and if he was going to do it, it would be next year.
They always say that, though.
I know they always say that, but we might see maybe a few guys jump on the ball and just say, let's put on a bit of a show. It'll be very interesting. Now tomorrow we have the All-Star draft. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little draft in between ourselves. But before I get into it, do we like the current format with the All-Star draft being on draft day or game day? So for me, 2 reasons that I don't like it. So number 1 is gambling.
That's where I was going to go.
So I wanted to jump on that first. I want to multi that up with other stuff that's happening on the weekend, and I want to be like a little bit sort of sure on what I'm
exactly
honeypot dipping into.
Yeah, so you've gone team Giannis and I've gone team LeBron in terms of our multis, and we've both gone blind.
The only reason I've gone team Giannis is because he's stupid. And team 2, number 2, is merch. Now, if I was attending, I'd want to be getting my favorite player's jersey to sit down and watch the game. So I don't really understand how this is all going to go. Like if they've just gone and printed a whole heap of jerseys for team LeBron, team Giannis, and as soon as it's done, they get to... It's going to be a little bit random. And I feel bad for whoever's picked last. You're right in front of everyone.
Oh, yikes.
yeah.
I mean, you're still an all-star, but you're like the least all-star.
Yeah, you're barely an all-star in the eyes of your peers.
So explain it to me. So you're saying that these teams, or the best all-stars have been picked from each conference, but the actual teams between LeBron and Giannis haven't actually been picked, so they can pick across the conferences.
So there's a limited amount of all-stars that are selected from each conference, but they they're not limited to Giannis only picking players from the Eastern Conference.
gotcha.
And it's just a pool of players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
they've
fantastic
done
when
before,
they
right?
introduce this.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes it so. Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a 2K kind of aspect to it. It's the
Yeah,
pickup
exactly.
sort of
Yeah.
style. And
Stirs up
whatnot.
the trade rumors, right? You know, people.
It does,
you know,
and
with
it has
like
that.
LeBron and
You
Steph.
saw the KD and
Yeah.
Kyrie talking backstage. We got 2 max contracts. Yeah, you've seen a whole lot of stuff that boils the pot,
the talking
stirs the
underneath
pot,
the jersey. you know?
boils the pot.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run our own little draft in between us three. So what we've got in front of us is we've got a list of all of the starters and of all of the reserves. Now, you'd obviously get 2 team captains and there's 3 of us. So
Yep.
what we're going to do is we're just going to roll through and pick one by one from the starter list and then from the reserve list. And we're just going to ask for your opinion, I guess, on who you think has drafted the best team.
Yeah, we're gonna see what you guys think. How much would I beat these guys' teams by?
We could run a 2K sim with all 3
Oh,
teams.
that's
See
a
who
good
comes
idea.
out on top.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So what we're going to do is we discussed just before that we're going to run from youngest to oldest first.
Yes.
Jordan's the draft guy, so we're going to be rolling off some of his rules, I guess you could say. So bear with us as we go through and do this. We just wanted to give a little bit
Yeah,
of
give it a little crack, a little bit of fun.
a live feel. So with the first pick and the lads talking footy, NBA 23 All-Star draft,
Dun, 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 dun.
I will
Whatever
be
that song
picking
is.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Ooh,
Milwaukee
great
Bucks.
pick. Great pick.
Great
Okay,
pick.
let's move this fast. It's so basically the draft order as well as Serpentine. I know you guys have played a lot of 2K association. You know how the Serpentine draft works. So it'll go Sam, me, Simon, Simon, me, Sam, and so on. So with the second pick, I will be taking Nikola Jokic.
Ooh, I like that pick. All right, and to move things along quickly,
You're not going to pick a guy that we want to go to town with, are you?
Yeah. Bradley Beal.
we're going through a man who's recently picked up a great addition to his team to help carry the load. We're going for one of the greatest players in the league at the moment, the future LeBron. That's Luka Doncic.
Oh.
And then with my second pick, to back up that star power that is Luka, and to give him a bit of size in the front court, I am going to pick up LeBron James.
Ooh, okay. You've put me in a bit of a situation here, but I think I see it. I think I'm going Jason Tatum.
Oh, future MVP. All right, with my pick, I am going to be taking the young dog, fire in his belly, my guy, Ja Morant from
Electric.
the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, that
Well
is
done.
a great
Good
pick.
pick.
Great pick. Back to me. We're gonna need some guard play.
Wait, doesn't he need to go twice?
Yeah, he does. Sorry, not back to me. No.
This is going to be tough.
With the my third pick in this draft, I'm going to be taking Mr. 71 of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. And I'm already scrambling here. This is bad. I'll have to go with Mr. Tinfoil Hat himself, Kyrie Irving.
Nice. Okay, that's good for me. All right. I need some man to settle us in the paint, provide some good defense around the rim. We know we're going for the man Joel Embiid.
Bead.
I'm glad they trusted the process on him. He is just turned into it.
Oh, he's an animal.
So do we have to pick with the starters because I'm left with one starter left?
Don't
Can I
be
go on?
that guy.
You have to
Don't
pick
be
the
that
starter.
guy.
Really?
Yeah, you got to take him.
Okay. I mean that's gonna make things tough. but that's crazy.
That's your boy.
Yeah, no,
Pick
that's
your
all right.
boy.
Yeah,
He's just
no.
come from the Cavs.
Yeah, he did well in the 3-point contest. Well, not really, but all right. I'm taking Laurie Markkinen.
I've got 3 players. How much do you guys have?
I have
I've got
4,
three.
so you're going to get your 4th.
Oh,
He's
okay,
going to
okay.
do 4,
I got
5.
fourth. And we're on to reserves now. I get the first reserve pick.
That's crazy. I got absolutely
I would never pick
rolled
Larry
in this
Markkinen.
order.
Um,
Neither.
Okay, I know we said we're meant to be quick, but now I've got a whole pool of players to choose from now. And it's looking very good, and it's looking very much like I might
Gosh,
take
I don't know who to pick.
Damian Lillard
Ooh,
as my 2 guard.
nice.
Good pick. Good pick. All right, with my 4th pick, I'm looking down here, and I will be taking, out of the Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo.
Great pick.
Great pick.
All right, so
Back to me, I
sorry.
believe.
No,
oh
one
no,
more,
Sam
one more,
again.
yeah.
Always jumping the gun.
So with my next pick, I will be taking Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh.
All right, JT.
So you took Adebayo, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a mess, man. All right. I'm going to have to take, bear with me, guys. I'm going to have to take Paul George, and I'll have to play Tatum at the power forward.
Interesting. But, you know, it's an all-star game. Defense isn't a high priority.
Oh, I'm picking a team to win.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I need to get Markkinen on the bench real quick. So let's pick somebody in the forward.
You have no. Rule is you have to start marking.
No. He's gonna.
And you have to go to town with him.
That's crazy. We're not pulling any pitches with this squad.
He's an NBA player. He definitely is.
All right, yeah. So in a forward position, oh man, this is tough. Let's go back to the white players. Let's pick up Sabonis.
That's actually a good pick.
He's going in. Yeah, he's going in there. All right, and then so to make up my starting five, I need another guard to go with Luka, and that is going to be a tough one. But we're going for star power. We're going for saucy handles and dunk ability. I'm picking up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, great pick. Great pick there. All right, we got my first reserve pick of the day, and who we're going to take to kickstart these reserves. I believe I'm going to pick DeMar DeRozan.
Nice, solid, good coverage.
All right, with my first pick for the reserves, I will be taking Tyrese Halliburton.
Ooh.
And with my next pick, I'll be giving him a little bit of a big man to go along with that, some blocking power. My matchup with my teammate, Ja Morant, I'm going to be taking Jaren Jackson Jr.
He's thinking
The stat pattern.
combinations.
He's got the stat pattern in his team.
Yeah. Okay. Man, you haven't left me with a lot. I will take Jaylen Brown.
Tough pick. Alrighty. My second reserve to going alongside Lauri Markkinen. We're gonna cover some forwards again.
Who's said in
Oh
last
no,
pick?
sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at these names.
Man, this
Spicy
is tough.
Pete.
This is so tough. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be. I'm going to take another guard here. I'm going to go with Drew.
I love it.
So I've got Laurie and Drew on the reserves. A third reserve. We're going to give the guards a little bit of rest, and he's the most electric. I'm going to pick up the Fox.
Okay. And that's your last pick, I believe,
that's
right?
my team. Yep, right there.
Okay, we're left with Spicy P and Julius Randle. I know how bad you want Spicy P. No, but I'm going to take him. I'm going to take the Spicy P, yeah.
Okay.
I am.
All right, with the last pick in my team, I'll happily be taking Julius Randle of the New York Knicks.
Okay. All right, boys. Let's
list our team.
Let's list our team. I'll start.
Go on.
So I've got point guard Kyrie Irving, shooting guard Damian Lillard. Oh my goodness, guard play.
Kyrie's not going to ask for a trade mid-game.
No, he's going to take 2 weeks off for mental leave. And then I got a bit of a mixed up forward play. I got Paul George at small forward and Jason Tatum at power forward. Then I got Nikola Jokic. So
I really like that, actually.
yeah, I was going to say, like, we've got Big Jupiter down low, dishing out to all the shooters around him. I think this is on paper the team that's going to work. And then you've got DeRozan coming off the bench for some scoring, Jaylen Brown coming off the bench for some scoring, and Siakam coming off the bench for some spicy penis.
Nice.
I don't know. Spicy penis.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
spicy penis.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, now we know exactly what you meant, right?
Sheesh.
Oh
Shut
my
it down.
All right, I'll go, and then we'll leave Sammy last. All right, so starting at the one, the man, the myth, legend, Luka Doncic.
Oh yeah, go. Sorry, that's spicy penis got me.
Yeah, so Luka Doncic as the one. Going with him at the two guard, shooting guard is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then in the forwards we've got LeBron paired up with Sabonis, and then at the center we've got Embiid.
Big team.
Coming off the bench, we've got Drew Holiday, we've got De'Aaron Fox, and then unfortunately Lauri Markkinen. So
He's your starter,
He has to
mate.
start. You mixed
no,
that up.
he's not starting. He doesn't have to start.
That's a big team though. That's going to cause my little guys some problems.
I actually really like how that first five kind of like rolls as well. You got Luka, LeBron, you got Shai as well.
Yeah.
That's a nice team.
Sabonis.
Not as nice as this. At the point guard spot, we've got an absolute dog. We've got Ja Morant.
Yep.
At the 2 guard, we've got Donovan Mitchell
Oh,
to round out
okay, this
the
is-
There's a bit of jelly going on in that.
scoring.
can yam it.
At the small forward position, we've got Anthony Edwards. So
Yeah.
you've got a 3-headed monster out
That
on
is
the
tough,
perimeter
man.
there. Now, if you want to head inside, we've got Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh my
Ooh,
god.
okay.
And rounding that off with Bam Adebayo. So
Yikes.
we're going to be shooting it lights out from the perimeter. We're taking it into the rim and we're defending everything. And then what's coming off the bench, we've got Tyrese Halliburton. We've got the blocking power of Jaren Jackson Jr. and Julius Randle. To finish that
Okay.
off.
That's tough,
Okay.
man. That's tough. I'm going to say my team first, Sam second. And
Well, it really doesn't matter what we think. Let us know who you think did the best and whose team would win in real life and is built the best with a good center and good shooters all around them. No, but let
Okay.
us know, for real.
Now that we've capped off all of what we had to talk about, we'll finish on our last sort of segment, Jersey Day. So this is where we head around the room, shine some light on which past or present athlete sort of needs to have their jersey ripped the most. Who wants to kick this off?
I don't mind. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I'll start. Yeah, you can take a break after your spicy penis. All right,
Just
so
sit on that one.
I'm going to the well a little bit here, and if anybody's a regular, they know that my two passions at the moment are surfing and golfing. I've been going back to surfing here, but we're going home, all right? So recently, one of the New Zealand's best surfers, Kehu Butler, over in Australia at the
That's a New Zealander, all right?
yeah, Oakberry surf competition. He made it to the final, and apparently there was a little bit of favoritism, and the local boy pipped him by 0.3 of a point. So between two of your best waves out of a 10 score, that is incredibly close.
Shout
so
out.
yeah, I mean, some say he should have won, but you know, for him to make it to the finals and then almost take it home, I think that's worth repping, and I think you're going to see his name more and more on the world competition. So shout out to Kehu Butler from the old Gizzy region down there.
So that is very impressive. I like that. I'm gonna stick my hand into Sam's closet and grab out a bit of maroon and white and chuck on a Manly Seagulls jersey, and I'm gonna take Tolu Kola. So he scored a spectacular try, 2 line breaks. There it is, and I'm one of it. The Warriors no more.
Fly birds fly.
Fly birds fly. So 2 line breaks and 154 running meters. He's looking like he could be a star. We've already touched on him, so he's my man to rep this week.
Yeah, he's in for a huge
Yeah.
season.
I'll take this blasphemy off.
All right, I'm going to throw mine back. So to the double O's of the Orlando Magic. Now, it was 7 years
Okay.
ago today. We had, in my opinion, one of the greatest dunk contests of all time, potentially one of the greatest robberies of all time.
Yes.
Other than Volk. No, joking.
So I'm repping Aaron Gordon today to continue showing love to one of the craziest shows that have been put on at an all-star event. Unbelievable. I've seen stuff that is never done before. We won't see stuff like that ever done
No.
again. So
Best man to never win.
having a heck of a season this year as well.
Yeah,
but
very, yeah.
He's brought back. Oh no, he's gone for the 50, and I'm not sure if you've seen the interview. The reason he's repping the 50 jersey is because he's got plenty of 50s in the dunk contest, and he said, you know, he's wearing the 50.
He has been pretty petty about it.
Yeah.
all,
He's got
but
a
yeah.
chip on
And
his shoulder.
He did. He
Yeah.
said he's never going to do another contest because he felt like he should have 2, chips already.
And I'll
so-
tell you what,
Well,
mate.
he sounds like he's sitting on the fence. He said if he made it to an all-star game this year, he'd do another dunk contest.
He's
So-
just saying things at this point, but yeah, he might have been unlucky to make this All-Star game as well. I think he's been in sublime form. Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. All right, that's us for another episode. Let us know what you thought. Let us know about your teams and whatnot. We'll see you all again in the next couple of weeks.
Peace out.
Peace.